Imagine a world where the biggest fear of owning an electric vehicle simply vanishes. No more staring at a dropping battery percentage on a lonely highway. No more 45-minute waits at a charging station while petrol cars zoom past you. We are currently living in an era where every EV manufacturer is locked in a desperate arms race over range, charging speed, and price. But amidst the noise of minor updates and software tweaks, a piece of news has quietly emerged that hasn't just rippled through the industry, it has shattered the old rules of the game. CATL, the company that effectively acts as the backbone of the global EV market, has unveiled a solid-state battery that sounds too good to be true. A range that could exceed 1,000 kilometers and charging speeds that rival filling up a gas tank. If the fear of battery fires was virtually eliminated, and if an EV could finally drive further than a diesel sedan on a single fill, what happens to the internal combustion engine? And perhaps the more distinct question is, if this technology is actually real and ready for market, why are giants like Tesla and BYD suddenly so quiet? There is a lot of activity happening behind closed doors. We aren't just looking at a new product launch, we're looking at a potential extinction event for the lithium-ion era. Let's decode what CATL's move actually means and why some experts believe we just passed the point of no return. To truly grasp the magnitude of this news, we first have to understand who is making the promise. If a startup you've never heard of claims to have a magic battery, you roll your eyes. But this is CATL. CATL isn't a household name like Tesla or Ford, but in the world of electric vehicles, they are the puppet masters. They stand at a position where the industry lives or dies based on their supply chains. Whether you drive a Tesla, a BMW, a Mercedes, a Volkswagen, or a Hyundai, there is a very high probability that the heart of that machine, the battery, came from CATL. Many consumers operate under the illusion that car manufacturers hold the power. They believe that because a car has a Ford logo, Ford controls the technology. The reality is starkly different. In the EV ecosystem, battery manufacturers hold the real control. You can change a car's design, you can update the software over the air, and you can swap out the interior materials. But if the battery isn't reliable, affordable, and scalable, the entire vehicle program collapses. CATL's dominance isn't just about technology, it's about scale. They don't just make batteries, they produce them at a volume that dwarfs the total demand of entire nations. So when this specific company starts talking about solid-state batteries, the industry doesn't hear prototype, they hear production. They know that CATL has the factories, the raw material contracts, and the logistics network to force a new standard upon the world, whether the car companies are ready for it or not. Before we look at the future, we have to look at the flaw in the present. If you watch any car commercial today, everything looks pristine. Futuristic designs, massive touchscreens, and promises of a green future. But beneath that glossy surface lies a dirty truth that very few CEOs talk about openly. The lithium-ion battery, the technology powering your phone, your laptop, and your car, is fundamentally flawed. It's based on principles that are decades old. The heart of this problem is the liquid electrolyte. Think of a battery as a chemical system. In current batteries, ions swim through a liquid solution to move from one side to the other. This liquid makes the battery work, but it is also its Achilles heel. It is flammable. A slightly higher temperature, a manufacturing defect, or a puncture during an accident can cause this liquid to ignite. This is the root cause of thermal runaway, a terrifying scenario where one cell overheats, sets fire to its neighbor, and creates a chain reaction that is incredibly difficult to extinguish. Beyond the fire risk, there is the issue of weight and degradation. To make a car go further, manufacturers today have to pack in more of this heavy, chemically unstable liquid. It creates a vicious cycle. To get more range, you add more weight. To move more weight, you need more energy. We have essentially taken laptop batteries and scaled them up to the size of a car chassis. We haven't solved the problem, we've just made the problem bigger. This is where the term solid state changes from a buzzword to a revolution. It isn't just a minor upgrade, like moving from one smartphone model to the next. It's akin to moving from a candle to a light bulb. The concept is simple but profound. Remove the dangerous, flammable liquid and replace it with a solid material. Once you remove the liquid, you solve the industry's three biggest headaches simultaneously. First, safety. Without a flammable liquid, the risk of explosion or thermal runaway drops to near zero. You could theoretically puncture a solid-state battery and it wouldn't burst into flames. This allows engineers to remove the heavy, complex cooling and safety armoring that clog up current EVs. Second, density. Because you don't need all that safety padding, and because the solid materials are more efficient, you can store vastly more energy in the same amount of space. This is the holy grail. It means a battery the size of a suitcase could potentially power a car for 800 or 1,000 kilometers. Third, longevity. Liquid electrolytes degrade over time. They are chemically active and wear down the internal structures of the battery, which is why your old phone dies at noon. Solid materials are stable. They don't degrade at the same rate. This implies an EV that could retain its full range for 10 or 15 years, fundamentally changing the resale value of electric cars. You might be thinking, I've heard this before. And you're right, we have heard promises of solid-state batteries for years, but almost all of those announcements came from startups showcasing a single cell in a controlled laboratory environment. There is a massive valley of death between making one battery work in a lab and making 1 million batteries work in a factory. This is where CATL separates itself from the vaporware. CATL isn't a company that releases a slide deck to pump up its stock price. They are a manufacturing juggernaut. When they announce a technology, it usually implies they have figured out the supply chain. They have already secured the lithium, the specialized solid materials, and the machinery required to press these batteries at speed. Experts are taking this seriously